What's up, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to an all-new Let's Play of Hearts of Iron 4, where we are continuing our French campaign, and right now we are on the 28th of September, 1937, and ultimately our number one priority is to finally research Marines and start pumping those out. So I want about 10 divisions of Marines, and ultimately I am still working on a lot of military factories, and I believe on the 7th of October, we are finally going to go ahead and finish up the strengthened government, because as we remember, it needed to take 365 days to finally complete itself. So the idea is once we complete Algeria and France, in 50 days, we are going to go ahead and start researching defensive stratagems. So if we can remove disjointed government, we are finally going to go ahead and not only be gaining national unity, but finally getting back all of the political power we deserve. So that's going to be our number one priority, and I guess we're going to go ahead and unpause the game. Right now, Iberia is still in the midst of a civil war. All the nationalist Spain needs to do is basically take one or two of these tiles. I don't know why they haven't. But I do believe that nationalist Spain is going to prevail very soon. All they really need to do as well, if they can remove these two ports, I mean, all these units are going to get wiped off the map. And it looks like we have just completed strengthened government. So, like I said, when Algeria and France gets completed, we're going to be getting a lot more infrastructure down here in Northern Africa. And the idea is we're then going to switch on over and try to fix our government once and for all. We just completed anti-tank defenses. Let's go ahead and start working on the Stokes mortar. It's going to give all of our infantry units some additional defense, so that is going to be nice. And our battleship is being worked on, so let's actually go ahead and produce a level 1 battleship. And the idea is, I know for a fact that we're not going to be producing it anytime soon, but what I want to do is, before I forget, when I do research the level 2 battleship, this is not going to be producing, but I'm going to go ahead and switch this on over to rank 2 battleships. It's just so I don't forget. Alright, looking at our production, as I was talking, a lot of military factories are being completed every few weeks, so the idea is once we complete infantry equipment, we're going to work on support equipment, then we're going to start working on fighters, and then I want to go ahead and start producing anti-tank. Let's get about 5 of these, and I'm going to push these on up. But yeah, it is going to definitely take some time, and because we're exercising, we are gaining a bunch of army experience, but we are burning through a lot of infantry equipment. I'm wondering why nationalist Spain is having such a hard time. It just doesn't make sense. I am going to go ahead and speed on up to speed 5 once again. But I believe in 19 days, when our Marines are finally finished on up, we are going to purchase those as quickly as we can. Looks like the Germans are also exercising as well. Alright, we have Algeria and France. A lot of infrastructure has gone on through to Tunisia and Algeria. So let's go ahead and start working on defensive stratagems. The quicker I can get this, the more efficient I'm going to become. And Richelieu class and Marines have now been unlocked. So let's go ahead and produce 10 units of Marines. I want to go ahead and put these on high equipment priority. And I want to go ahead and produce 2 units of Mountaineers and 1 unit of Mountaineers. And the idea is I want these on high equipment. And the idea is I want to put 2 more units on this line right here to prevent any German aggression. I don't think they're ever going to push through, but I also want to go ahead and put 1 more unit on our Alpine forces, only because I like even numbers, and I don't know why the number 17 bothers me so much. But looking at our research slots, we are in 1937, so let's go ahead and start working on the radio. And I also want to go ahead and start working on military police. I don't think I need anything else. So let's go ahead and start working on military police. I absolutely want things like field hospitals, but I like to get military police because when we do conquer things, I'm always, for some reason, I'm always dumbfounded that I forget to research military police. And so I'll put down my cavalry and they won't really do anything. So it looks like Italy announces claims on the Yugoslavian territory, and I believe that Japan and China are officially fighting it on out. Here we go. Japan declared war on China. World tension is growing. So it's a good thing that we are preparing for a future war. The Chinese United Front forms. We have an unstable alliance. So basically there are a bunch of different Chinas, believe it or not. And right now we have neutral China. We have communist China, which is led by Mao. So if you've ever wondered who Mao is, now you know. And of course we also have another neutral China. And we have German China, which is technically fascist China. But everybody is joining together, all of their forces are joining together, and so China is going to become one major country, and they're going to try to fight the Japanese together. Yep, as you can see, eventually Mao and fascist China will join in. Okay, it looks like nationalist Spain is finally pushing on through, so they've secured a port. If they could secure this port as well, things are definitely going to go in their favor. And as you can see, some of these units are lacking a lot of equipment, especially in communist Spain. Okay, we have Yugoslavian requests sale of airplanes. Realizing a strategic weakness, the Yugoslavian Air Force has initiated a crash program to modernize and expand its force. Significant money reserves have been set aside to cover the purchase. A commission is traveling around Europe to look for new sources of fighters and medium bombers. Given the urgency of the issue, the Yugoslavians have insisted on immediate delivery or transfer of planes directly from the producer. So we could sell them fighters, we could sell them bombers, or we could not spare anything. I think I would like to go ahead and sell them bombers, but is this tactical bombers? Yes, it is. So I'm not even building tactical bombers, and I have a lot of them, so let's go ahead and sell what we can. And just like that, we have gained an additional 5% less consumer goods, so we gained 4 civilian factories, I believe, for a half a year, so I think that was definitely worth it. Engineering companies have been unlocked. Let's go ahead. It's the 11th of January, so we're now in 1938. So going over to engineering, I now want to start working on the computing machine. It's going to give us another 3% research bonus. And the outdated equipment was the battleship, so let's go ahead and pump that out. And everything is working well. I might even go ahead and throw on in some dockyards. But you know what? That's probably not a good idea because we're not even building our fighters yet. And we are definitely just waiting on more and more military factories. Defensive stratagems have been finally completed, and just like that, we no longer have to, we have gained more national unity, and we are gaining more and more political power every day. So eventually we're going to change our economic law once again to officially get less consumer goods. And the idea is we're definitely going to be improving the amount of output that our factories can achieve and more efficiency. Alright, I suppose we can go ahead and finally continue our colonial industry down inside Northern Africa. And we are definitely gearing on up, but very soon I feel like we need to go ahead and start working on some land forts, but, to start actually producing some bunkers in the Alpine region and in Belgium. So we'll go ahead and work on that eventually. Alright, we have the Anschluss of Austria. So basically, after a successful coup d'etat, the local Nazi party in Vienna, German troops have crossed the Austrian border and taken control of the country. No fighting has been reported, and the German soldiers were greeted by cheering crowds of the cities. In a speech before a massive crowd at the Heldenplatz in Vienna, Hitler announced the Anschluss of Austria, annexing the country into Germany. The oldest eastern province of the German people shall be, from this point on, the newest bastion of the German Reich. So this once again violates the Treaty of Versailles. World tension has improved, or obviously, skyrocketed. Japan's in a war. The German Reich is seizing territory. The world is definitely getting closer and closer to a massive war. Nationalist Spain is going to win this fight, so that means the German Reich and the Italians are going to have another ally in Spain, which is obviously to be expected. Alright, we've now reached a new defensive Stokes mortar, so now all of our infantry have more defense. Let's go ahead and get improved infantry equipment. And so now all of our infantry are going to have a little bit more soft attack. So that is nice to see. Alright, Madrid has fallen, so that means all of the factories inside Madrid now belong to Nationalist Spain. So it's really only a matter of time, because Nationalist Spain is going to outproduce Republican Spain, and there's really nothing they can do about it. Alright, I think we're going to need a lot more military factories. And obviously I do want to build land forts, but I'm not going to do it just yet until we actually do some research. And I'll show you what I mean. Alright, colonial industry has been unlocked. We now have a healthier economy. What I want to do is start working on colonial military factories, and then I'm going to start pushing on down into a fortification focus. Okay, I'm wondering if there's anything else. Let's go ahead and start researching field hospitals. And so the idea is field hospitals are basically, what they sound like. So we're going to be preserving a lot more manpower. Oh, whoops, I have a lot of political power. We're going to be preserving a lot more manpower, and that means the units that get injured have the ability to come back to the front lines. So not only do we get more manpower, but we gain experience. Let's go ahead and cash out this 150 political power for a partial mobilization. So not only do we gain 5% more consumer goods, we are now going to be gaining a lot more efficiency when it comes to producing military factories. So that is nice to see. Everything is coming along nicely. I'm going to be building another military factory in Corsica, just so we can actually start gearing up our production. Alright, we have a lot of army experience. I would like to throw... Oh, whoops, our Marines are done. Forgot about them. And our Mountaineers. So these Mountaineers need to go on over this direction. This Mountaineer needs to go to the Alpine area. And these Marines need to become a division of their own. For some reason, I like to make them blue, and I like to put them in the African theater, even though they're going to be inside Europe. You need a leader. And for some reason, it is not popping up. There we are. So let's go ahead and give you this level 4 leader, even though the reconnaissance... Well, you have reconnaissance as well. So let's go ahead and bring you on down to Corsica, and you are going to become exercising. So not only are you going to go to train, but you're eventually going to become regular. Sadly enough, all of those cash expenses from the Yugoslavian sales have finally been deteriorated, which I guess is fine. But I definitely need to start pumping out some fighters, and it looks like we're finally there. And once we get some artillery... Well, let's do this. Let's get our close air support first. Which I guess will be any second now. There it is. We are now going to be bringing the artillery up. And I want to get about 3 units of artillery and then 5 units of anti-tank. Alright, we are on the 28th of May. Let's go ahead and get logistics companies. And everything is going well. We have a lot of army experience. I think what I would like to do is finally put on some engineering companies in our Mountaineers and some engineering companies inside our infantry. And there goes all of our army experience. But at least we have the ability to dig in much more efficiently. Currently working on colonial military factories, which is nice to see. And I believe we are eventually going to start plowing on through this defensive focus. So the idea is we are now going to be getting a new chief of the army, which is going to be giving us better defense. But what I really want is the fortification focus before I start building forts, because everything we build is going to be 10% more efficient. And I suppose this is going to take a lot longer than 140 days. So let's go ahead and do something like this. I want to build a fort in every single province, and I technically want to have level 6 forts, but we'll talk about that in a moment. Indian National Congress triumphs in provincial elections. Can they get through here? No. So let's go ahead. Not only are we building Alpine forts, but we're going to start building forts inside Belgium. So we are next to Belgium, so obviously if they do flank around the Maginot Line, it's not going to be as devastating. Okay, we are no longer gaining the effects from the sale of Yugoslavian aircraft. I am obviously very sad about that. Improved infantry equipment. It looks like the German Reich is justifying against us. I don't think that's going to happen because I feel like they're going to eat away Czechoslovakia and then Poland, but we are obviously very concerned about this. Let's go ahead and start getting better defense for all of our troops. In 1939, it's going to be a big year for a lot of industry. Alright, we have free military factories once again. I suppose it might be a good idea to get more artillery and then double the anti-tank. Oh, I'm going to need a lot more oil for motorized equipment. Which is going to need to happen. So let's do 4... Let's do 2 and 2, and that's going to use all of our oil. And the reason why I did 8 is because every time we import oil, it becomes in 8 barrels of oil. I am obviously a little nervous right now because the German Reich is supposed to just steamroll me in every way possible. But the idea, if we could somehow purchase a lot of these, land forts, things should definitely start going our way. We're building a lot more infantry equipment, so we are definitely leading on the correct direction. Let's go ahead and get recon companies, so that means we can actually start determining the enemy tactics a little bit sooner. We have 160 political power. I think I want to get my very first military theorist, and that means we're going to start accumulating additional army experience every turn, or every day, I guess. So the idea is we're going to be able to cash that out more efficiently. Okay, my next priority is to go ahead and stop these 8 units from exercising. We're going to bring them on over to the Libyan border, and we're going to create an offensive line on Italy, a few times actually. And so the idea, I don't like how it's, I guess you can't do 2 at once. So the idea is I want to be able to... Let's actually cancel this altogether. What I want to do is be able to conquer all of Libya in just 2 easy steps. And because I have motorized divisions, they're going to be so fast that they're not going to see what's coming. Defensive focus has been unlocked, and we've also researched the computing machine. Nationalist Spain is about to win. All of the troops that are in this area are obviously cut off. So they are all going to eventually dwindle down from attrition and lack of supply. Okay, we are now going to go ahead and begin researching signal companies. And I guess that's it. We have another national focus. Let's begin working on the fortification effort. So then all of our construction speed is going to be a little bit quicker. I'm wondering if this is really a good idea, producing all these military factories. I think it'll be fine. But I really don't know. Alright, once again, as we predicted, the Czechoslovakians are under fire from the Germans. So basically what's going to happen is the Germany is now trying to remove all of the Sudetenland territory. Germans demand for the Sudetenland region of Czechoslovakia, where a significant number of ethnic Germans live, have come to a head. Hitler has positioned forces along the Czechoslovakian border in preparation for an attack. Talks are being held in Munich between Britain, France, Italy, and Germany in the hopes of negotiating a peaceful end to the student crisis. British have made it clear that they have no intention of going to war over a quarrel in a far-away country. Should we follow their lead, or will we honor our obligation to the Czechoslovakians by offering them support? Well, sadly, my number 1 priority is to make an alliance with Great Britain, so obviously we are going to leave the Czechs to their fate. I am very sad about that. But it looks like Germany has now taken all of Austria, they've taken all of the Sudetenland, and of course they have remilitarized the Rhineland as well. So a lot of world tension is growing. The German economy is expanding exponentially, and it looks like we can modify our government once again, but I don't think we're going to really worry about it just yet. Okay, I'm taking a quick glance. We are now only down to 23,000 infantry equipment reduction, so we're lacking 160 days worth of equipment. But once we stop exercising, I'm sure that 160 days would probably drop down to 70. Obviously, because we're exercising, we're burning through equipment. Let's go ahead and take a look at our military factories. So I believe once these are finally done, we're going to start gearing up a very powerful protection. A lot of forts and underground bunkers is going to be what we really need in the Alpine region and inside Belgium. Alright, it is 1938, so let's go ahead, and just because we can, we are going to get the maintenance companies. But I guess what I really want to do, in 1939, I obviously want to get all of this industry. I obviously want to go ahead and start working on the better anti-tank, and I definitely want to get engineering companies and better mountaineers, and better weapons. So 1939 is an incredibly big year. In fact, I'm hoping we're definitely ready for it. Fortification focus has been unlocked, so we are now going to start working on the Leve un Mas and gaining 5 army experience, but all of our infantry equipment is going to be producing 10% faster. So the reason why I did not go down to the Alpine forts is because we're going to be getting forts for free. So rather than getting the cheapest forts for free, I would rather get the most expensive forts for free. It makes the most amount of sense, and it looks like we are definitely doing better. Maybe all these military factories were a mistake. I definitely need to start growing and growing my forts. Alright, let's go ahead and begin. I think what we're going to do is actually wait 30 days once again, and we are going to take an ahead of time penalty. But let's go ahead and start researching the better technology for our industry in 1938 rather than 1939. And while I'm waiting, it looks like we can go ahead and actually get the industrial concern. So we're going to get 10% reduction on all of our industry that we're about to research. So that's nice. So I'm guessing this political power guy is finally paying himself off. Okay, we've got more and more army experience, so let's go ahead and throw on in a field hospital to all of our infantry units. I would like to go ahead and throw a recon company into our mountaineer divisions. We just lack so much army experience, it's just a little annoying. And we're lacking a lot of support equipment as well, so I might want to go ahead and throw on more units into support equipment. We're lacking oil, and we are lacking tungsten. So let's go ahead and import more oil from the United States, and let's go ahead and get more tungsten. I guess we can get them from the United States because we haven't actually imported any at all. And I would like to use all of the tungsten. So I guess what I probably should do... Well, I need more Air Force. I need a better Air Force before I get more artillery. Okay, research slots available. Sadly, I think I waited about 2 weeks too long, but let's go ahead and begin working on better construction, so construction rank 3, and better concentrated industry. When these are done, I'm definitely going to be improving our weapon technology, and I'm definitely going to be improving our mountaineers. Okay, Leve un Mas coming along nicely. Not only are we going to be gaining more army experience, but our production cost for all of our infantry equipment is going to go down. All of our forts have finally been finished on up. So now I want level 4 forts all across the Alpine territory. So that's going to be one of my #1 priorities. And then we could start working on getting level 2 forts all across Belgium. Yeah, let's leave it. Okay, letting the game tick on by. We now have 10 army experience. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw on in a unit of anti-tank. So that means if we do ever come across some enemy tanks, our infantry will definitely be able to repel them a little bit more efficiently. But I do also want to go ahead and begin working on grand batteries. So we're going to get better research for support artillery and better army experience as well. Okay, let's go ahead and also research army defense. So all of our, not research, but hire a chief of the army. So all of our units are going to be getting some additional defensive capabilities, which is going to be awesome. But I do need to be incredibly cognizant of this lack of manpower. So every ship that we produce, we are definitely going to be using a lot of manpower. Every time we add to our divisions, we're burning through manpower. But I think this is going to be the last time. I don't really need logistics companies. So what I'm going to do is throw on 2 units of artillery. So artillery... Well, actually, let's do it like this. Let's throw in anti-tank. And just because I like to do it like this, we're going to do an artillery in the middle and then an anti-tank. So I understand we don't have enough anti-tank. But now we have the definite ability to repel enemy advances, at least in Belgium. And we now have artillery as well. So I'm guessing all of our manpower is going to be dwindled away. We are lacking anti-tank and we are lacking artillery. So obviously that is not good. But for the next year or so, we're not going to have enough manpower. So let's go ahead and, I guess, end this episode here. Let's get one more research slot. And I want to go ahead and get better infantry equipment. And I guess we're going to end this episode. So thank you all for joining me. Hope you all have an awesome day. I will see you in our next adventure.